everyone. Welcome to our podcast. I'm Sophia.
And I'm Mason. Today, we're diving into a very, very special topic, the concept of work-life balance in the modern world. It's something we hear about all the time, right? But how do we really achieve it?
Yes, it's such a big topic today. With the way work has changed, especially with technology, people are always connected to their jobs. Even when we're home, it's easy to answer an email or finish up a project. It's like we never really switch off.
Exactly. And that's why work-life balance has become so important. In the past, work used to be more structured 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and that was it. But now, with flexible hours, remote work, and the expectation to be reachable 24/7, the line between work and personal life has become really blurred.
It's true. And, sometimes people don't realize how much this affects them. It's not just about time management or scheduling your day. It's about mental and emotional health too. If you're always thinking about work, it's hard to relax or enjoy your free time. Even when you're with your family or friends, your mind might still be at work.
That's a great point. It's not just about hours spent working or resting. It's about quality, right? You might only work 8 hours a day, but if you spend your evenings thinking about work or checking your phone constantly, are you really having a balance?
No, not at all. And the pressure to always be on is huge in today's world. Many people feel that if they don't respond quickly or if they don't stay productive all the time, they're not doing enough. But that's not sustainable.
Yeah, that pressure can lead to burnout, which is becoming more common. Burnout doesn't just mean feeling tired. It's a real condition where people feel emotionally and mentally exhausted from constant stress. You might start feeling less motivated, less creative, and even disconnected from your own job.
Right, and that's why so many experts talk about the need to set boundaries. That could be as simple as not checking work emails after a certain time or having a specific space in your home where you do your work. When you step away from that space, you're in personal mode, not work mode. It helps create that mental separation.
Yes, boundaries are key. But it's not just about physical space, it's also about time. Like taking actual breaks during the day and not feeling guilty about it. I've noticed that some people, even when they're supposed to be on a break, feel like they need to stay busy or productive. But taking a proper break is so important for staying focused and being more effective at work.
Absolutely. Breaks are not just about resting your body, they're also about giving your mind a moment to recharge. And when we're talking about work-life balance, it's not just about work and rest. It's also about making time for things that give us joy. Hobbies, exercise, spending time with loved ones, these things are part of life too, and they help us feel fulfilled.
That's right. Sometimes people think of work-life balance as a kind of 50-50 split between work and everything else. But really, it's more personal than that. It depends on what you value and what makes you feel happy and healthy. Some people might love working long hours if their job is something they're passionate about. For others, it's really important to leave work behind at the end of the day and focus on family or personal projects.
Yes, balance isn't the same for everyone. It's different depending on the individual, their job, and their personal life. And that's okay. The key is finding what works for you. Some people thrive with a lot of structure, and others need more flexibility.
Exactly. It's about being mindful of your own needs and setting your own limits. You can't always control how much work you have, but you can control how you handle it and what you do with your time outside of work.
I think that's a really good point. It's all about awareness. If you're feeling overwhelmed, take a step back and think, what's making me feel this way? Am I overworking? Am I spending enough time on myself or the things I love? It's about finding that balance that works for you, not for someone else.
Yes, and it's also about communication. If you're working in a job where the expectations are really high, it's important to talk about it. If you feel like you're always on call, maybe it's time to have a conversation with your boss or colleagues about boundaries. People often assume they have to be available all the time, but that might not always be the case.
Exactly. Sometimes, just communicating your needs can make a big difference. Many employers understand the importance of work-life balance and are willing to be flexible if you bring it up. But they can't help if they don't know what you need.
Yeah, that's so true. A lot of people are afraid to speak up because they think it might make them seem less committed to their job. But in reality, having those conversations can actually make you a better worker. When you're not constantly stressed or overwhelmed, you can focus better and your productivity goes up.
Yes, and it's not just about doing more work, but doing better work. When people are rested, when they feel balanced, their creativity and problem-solving skills are so much stronger. And that benefits both the employee and the employer, right?
Absolutely. I think that's something that's often missed in the conversation about work-life balance. It's not just about being happier outside of work, but also about being more effective in your job. There's a saying, work smarter, not harder. And part of working smarter is knowing when to step away and recharge.
That's such a great point. It's not sustainable to push yourself 100% of the time. We're not machines, right? Our bodies and minds need rest. And if we don't give ourselves that time to recharge, it can lead to mistakes at work, lack of focus, and even health issues.
Exactly. And that brings up another important aspect of work-life balance, health. We often think of work and life as two separate things, but they're really connected. If you're overworking, it can affect your health physically and mentally. Stress can lead to sleep problems, headaches, anxiety, and even more serious conditions over time.
Right, and that's why taking care of your health should be a priority. It's not just about being productive at work, but also about feeling good in your everyday life. Things like regular exercise, getting enough sleep, eating well, and managing stress are all key to maintaining that balance.
Yes, and let's not forget the social aspect. Spending time with friends and family is really important, not just for emotional support, but for our overall well-being. We often get so focused on our work tasks that we forget how refreshing it can be to disconnect and just enjoy time with the people we care about.
Exactly. Social connections give us energy, and they remind us that there's more to life than just work. Whether it's having a meal with family, chatting with friends, or even spending time with a pet, it all helps us to reset mentally and emotionally.
And that's something a lot of people don't make time for. They think, oh, I'll hang out with friends when I'm less busy, but that time often never comes. Making those moments a priority can actually make you more balanced overall.
Yes, it's all about balance, right? And balance isn't something you find once and keep forever. It's something you have to adjust over time, depending on your situation. Sometimes you'll need more focus on work, and other times you'll need more focus on life outside of work. The key is being flexible and knowing when it's time to shift that focus.
Exactly. It's like walking on a tightrope. You have to constantly adjust to stay balanced. And sometimes you'll lean more in one direction than the other, but as long as you're aware of it and can shift back when needed, you'll maintain that overall balance.
Yes, and I think that awareness is really the heart of it. If you're mindful of how you're feeling and how your time is being spent, you can make better choices for yourself. That might mean taking a day off, saying no to an extra project, or simply turning off your phone in the evening.
Exactly. It's about taking control of your time rather than letting it control you. And that's something that can be difficult in a world where we're always connected, always reachable. But it's so important for our well-being to find those moments where we can just disconnect and recharge.
Yes, disconnecting is so important. And what's interesting is that disconnecting doesn't always mean stepping away for hours or days. It can be as simple as taking a short break, even just 5 or 10 minutes to step outside, take a breath, or do something you enjoy. Those little moments add up and help you reset, so you're not always running on empty.
That's true. We often think of relaxation as something we do after we've finished everything, like at the end of the day or on the weekend. But we really need to weave it into our everyday lives. Taking small breaks during the workday can make a big difference in how you feel and how productive you are.
Exactly. And it's interesting, when we look at different cultures, we can see how different countries approach work-life balance. For example, in some European countries, there's a strong emphasis on taking breaks and having time off. In Spain, there's the siesta tradition, a midday break that allows people to rest and recharge. In Scandinavian countries, work hours are often shorter, but productivity levels are still high. They focus on efficiency and making the most of the time they do spend at work.
Yes, that's a great point. In some cultures, there's more of a recognition that rest and work aren't enemies. They're actually partners. If you rest well, you work well. But in other cultures, especially in places like the US or parts of Asia, there's more pressure to always be on the go. There's a kind of pride in working long hours, as if that's the only way to show your dedication.
Exactly. And that's where the challenge lies. In fast-paced environments, especially in cities where everyone's hustling, it can be hard to step away and not feel guilty. It almost feels like if you're not busy all the time, you're not being productive enough. But that mindset can be really damaging in the long run.
Yes, that constant busyness can become a trap. You end up measuring your worth by how busy you are, rather than how effective or fulfilled you feel. And like we said before, that's not sustainable. It leads to stress, burnout, and even a sense of dissatisfaction with life. You might be working hard, but are you really enjoying life?
Exactly. And that's where the real question of work-life balance comes in. It's not just about managing your time, but asking yourself, what kind of life do I want to live? What makes me feel happy, fulfilled, and healthy? For some people, that might mean working fewer hours or finding a job that allows them more flexibility. For others, it might mean learning to set boundaries so that work doesn't take over their personal life.
Yes, and I think that's a big shift that's happening right now, especially with younger generations. People are starting to question the old idea that your job has to be your entire identity. More people are looking for jobs that allow them to have time for themselves, their families, and their passions outside of work.
Yes, and I think it's also about redefining success. For a long time, success has been defined by how much money you make, how many hours you work, and how much you achieve in your career. But now, we're starting to see success as something more holistic. It's about having a career you enjoy, but also having a life outside of work that makes you feel happy and complete.
Exactly. It's about finding balance in every sense between work and life, between effort and rest, and between achieving your goals and enjoying the journey. It's all connected. You can be successful at work and still make time for the things that matter most to you.
Yes, and that's something we need to remember. Balance doesn't mean that everything is always equal. Some days, work might take up more of your time and energy, and that's okay. Other days, you might focus more on your personal life. The key is to not let one part of your life completely dominate the other. It's about making sure that, over time, you're taking care of both sides.
Exactly. It's like you said earlier, balance isn't a fixed thing. It changes depending on what's going on in your life. Sometimes work will need more of your attention, and other times, your personal life will. The important thing is to be aware of those shifts and make adjustments as needed.
Absolutely, Mason, awareness is key. And I think part of that awareness comes from regular self-reflection. Taking time to check in with yourself about how you're feeling. Are you stressed? Are you happy? Are you making time for things you love? Can help you stay aligned with your values. It allows you to recognize when something feels off and when it's time to make adjustments.
Yes, self-reflection is powerful, and it doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as simple as taking a few minutes each day to journal your thoughts, or even just pausing to breathe and think about your day. Asking yourself, what went well today? What didn't? Can give you great insights into what's working and what's not in terms of your work-life balance.
Exactly, and it's not just about identifying problems, but also celebrating successes. When you recognize the things that are working well in your life, it reinforces those positive habits. Maybe you found a way to enjoy your work while still making time for your hobbies. Acknowledging that can motivate you to keep pursuing that balance.
That's a great perspective, and sometimes it helps to talk things out with someone else, too. Whether it's a friend, family member, or even a mentor, sharing your thoughts and feelings can give you a fresh perspective. They might offer insights or ideas that you hadn't considered.
Absolutely. Having that support system can make a big difference. Plus, knowing you're not alone in navigating these challenges can be comforting. Many people are struggling with work-life balance, so sharing experiences and solutions can create a sense of community.
And it's also important to remember that it's okay to ask for help. Whether that's at work or in your personal life, reaching out for support can lead to better solutions. If you're feeling overwhelmed, don't hesitate to talk to your boss about your workload or ask colleagues for assistance. In your personal life, don't hesitate to ask friends or family for help with daily responsibilities.
Exactly. We all need support sometimes, and that brings us to the importance of setting realistic goals. Whether it's at work or in your personal life, having achievable goals can help you maintain that balance. If you set goals that are too high or unrealistic, you might end up feeling stressed or disappointed, which can tip the balance in the wrong direction.
Yes, setting realistic and manageable goals is essential. It's about finding that sweet spot where you're challenging yourself but not overwhelming yourself. And remember, it's okay to adjust your goals as your circumstances change. Life is always evolving, and so should your goals.
Absolutely. And as we talk about adjusting goals, let's not forget about the importance of saying no sometimes. It can be tempting to take on more responsibilities, whether at work or in your personal life. But learning to say no can be a powerful way to protect your time and energy.
Yes, that's so true. Saying no doesn't make you a bad person or a bad employee. In fact, it shows that you respect your own limits and understand the importance of balance. When you take on too much, you risk burning out, and that doesn't help anyone in the long run.
Exactly. Saying no allows you to focus on what truly matters to you and what aligns with your goals. It's about prioritizing your well-being and ensuring that your time is spent on things that truly add value to your life.
And that ties back to what we were saying earlier about finding your own definition of success and balance. It's all interconnected. When you take control of your time, set realistic goals, ask for help, and know when to say no, you're taking steps toward a healthier, more fulfilling work-life balance.
Yes, and as we've discussed, work-life balance isn't just about splitting time evenly. It's about creating a life that feels good and works for you. It's a continuous process, and it requires regular reflection, adjustments, and self-care.
Exactly, Sophia. It's all about creating a life that feels good for you, and that journey is different for everyone. Some days will be easier than others, and that's perfectly okay. The key is to keep adjusting and staying aware of your needs and feelings. This ongoing process of finding balance is what makes it possible to live a more fulfilling life.
Absolutely. And I think it's also important to celebrate those small victories along the way. If you find a new routine that works for you, or if you manage to create a boundary that helps you feel more relaxed, take a moment to appreciate that. These small steps are what build a more balanced life over time.
Yes, and let's not forget the role of mindfulness in all of this. Being present in the moment can help you appreciate the time you spend at work and at home. Practicing mindfulness can also help reduce stress and improve your overall well-being. It encourages you to focus on what you're doing now rather than worrying about what's next on your to-do list.
That's such an important point. Mindfulness doesn't have to be complicated either. Simple practices like deep breathing, meditation, or just taking a moment to notice your surroundings can help bring you back to the present. When you're more present, you're able to enjoy your life more fully, which is the essence of work-life balance.
Exactly. So, as we wrap up this discussion, we encourage everyone listening to take some time to reflect on their own work-life balance. Think about what it means to you and what steps you can take to improve it. It's a personal journey, and there's no one-size-fits-all solution.
Yes, and remember that it's okay to seek support along the way, whether it's from friends, family, or colleagues. You don't have to navigate this journey alone. By prioritizing your well-being and making conscious choices, you can create a life that feels balanced and fulfilling.
Absolutely. We hope this conversation has inspired you to think about your own work-life balance and to take steps toward creating a healthier, happier life.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you taking the time to listen, and we hope you found this podcast helpful and engaging.
Yes, thank you. We enjoyed discussing this important topic with you. Remember to take care of yourselves and find that balance that works for you.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.